kept a few other snaps, but no. There was, though, the stack of letters tied with a ribbon in the same box as the albums that my father had written to my mom for a few months after he left us. I'd never read them before, and they turned out pretty interesting. The way it sounded, my father was defending himself against my mom's accusations that he'd left us for this female named Rosalie, who my mom said had been his girlfriend for years, but he was claiming that Rosalie'd only been a normal friend of his at work and so on. He had good handwriting, neat, and all the letters slanted the same way. Rosalie didn't matter to him anymore, he said. She never had. He said he wanted to come back. I almost felt sorry for him, except I didn't believe him. Plus, I don't need the letters my mom had written to him in order to know her side of the story, because even though I was only a little kid when this all happened, I've got memories. If he was such a great guy and all, how come he split on us and never sent any money or even tried to be in touch with his own son? My grandmother said, just don't think about him anymore. He's probably living it up in some foreign country in the Caribbean or in jail for drugs. She goes, you don't have a father, Chappie. Forget him. She was tough, my grandmother, and I used to try and be like her when it came to thinking about my real father. I don't think she knew my mom had saved my dad's letters. I bet my stepfather didn't know either. Anyhow, this one afternoon I came home from school early because I'd cut the last 2 periods, which was just as well since I didn't have my homework anyhow, and both teachers were the kind who boot you out of the class if you come in empty-handed, like it's a punishment that'll make you do better next time. I rummaged around in the fridge and made a bologna and cheese sandwich and drank one of my stepfather's beers and went into the living room and watched MTV for a while and played with the cat Willie, who got spooked and took off when I accidentally flipped him on his head. Then I started making my rounds. I really wanted some weed. It had been a couple of days since I'd been high, and whenever I went that long, I'd get jumpy and restless and kind of irritated at the world, feeling like everything and everyone was out to get me, and I was no good and a failure at life, which was basically true. A little smoke, though, and all that irritation and nervousness and my wicked low self-esteem immediately went away. They say weed makes you paranoid, but for me, it was the opposite. I'd about given up on finding something in the house that I could rob, a personal possession that could be hawked like the TV or the VCR or the stereo would be instantly noticed when it was gone, and all the rest of their stuff was boring household goods that you couldn't sell anyhow, like electric blankets and a waffle iron and a clock radio. My mom didn't have any jewels that were worth anything except her wedding ring from my stepfather, which she made a big deal out of, but it looked like a Walmart's ring to me, and besides, she always had it on. They didn't even have any decent CDs. All their music was 70s stuff, disco fever and easy listening and such like, on cassettes. The only kind of robbing I thought was possible was big time, like stealing my stepfather's van while he was asleep, for example, and I wasn't ready for that. I was taking one more look into their bedroom closet, down on my hands and knees and groping past my mother's shoes into the darkness, when I came to what I'd thought last time was just some folded blankets. But when I felt into the blankets, I realized there was something large and hard inside. I pulled out the whole thing and unwrapped what turned out to be these 2 black briefcases that I'd never seen before. I sat cross-legged on the floor and put the first briefcase on my lap, thinking it was probably locked, until it snapped open, which surprised me, but then the real surprise came when I lifted the lid and saw a .22 automatic rifle broken down into 3 parts, just lying there, with a rod and cleaning kit and a box of shells. It wasn't hard to fit the parts together. It even had a scope like an assassin's rifle, and pretty soon I was into a Lee Harvey Oswald trip, standing by the bedroom window and brushing the curtain away with the tip of the barrel, and aiming through the scope at stuff on the street going, pow! Pow! I blasted a couple of dogs and blew away the mailman and nailed the drivers of cars.